So I gravitate towards sci-fi.
Okay.
So anything sci-fi, if it's got stars in it, I'll watch it. Even if it might be like a B movie, I'll watch it and make and formulate my own opinion. So I'll go into many of those situations like, oh, this looks good, and then halfway through I'm like, nah. But I'll at least give it a try. What I
Okay.
don't like is I don't like a lot of reality TVs. I don't like a lot of like housewives type situations. I can't get into stuff like that for whatever reason. It's just never been my cup of tea.
I don't.
I
I
think
can't.
as far as I will go, I've watched a couple of seasons of 90 Day Fiance
Hmm.
because I fell into it with some of our friends and stuff like that. I watch Survivor with my kid.
Okay, that's a good one.
I used to watch what's it the one where the couples get together and travel the world and do like I forget what that's called.
Like Amazing Race, or
Yes, Amazing Race. I did
Mhm.
Amazing Race. I don't watch it religiously. Like those are the things I'll watch with my kid because there's there's not a lot of things you can watch on TV that are like kid appropriate. So we tend to gravitate towards these safer adventure type stuff. Even
Josie.
though what I will say is my kid is 13 now, so he has and can watch a lot of things that ordinarily wouldn't be for him, like things with sex scenes in it. He watches a lot of LGBTQ type shows where there may be some nudity or like
Right.
queer kissing and stuff like. We don't shy away from stuff like that because we don't. What we don't want to do is go see a movie at the movie theater and it's all straight, sex scenes and all this other stuff. He's 13, so he can handle most of that stuff. And then when you get the queer type stuff here at home, we're like, okay, let's change it. We don't do that. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to us. That's
No.
it's one and the same. So yeah, representation matters. Not that he is in no way, shape, or form exhibiting any queer behaviors, and should he, that's fine, whatever. But
Yeah.
he needs to know that there's no difference between the two.
I'm August Black, and this is Certified Bad Example, where we take real parenting moments that make you pause and ask, who approved this?
And I'm Jameel Mayers. We're not here to teach, we're here to talk about it. Different opinions, real perspectives, and what we do instead, preferably before somebody ends up grounded crying or in a group chat getting roasted.
Because every situation is a choice.
And some of y'all are choosing chaos.
This is Certified Bad Example. Follow, share, and hold on tight.
I was more going to recommend a show kind of based on what we were chatting about a second ago with bullying. There's a show on
Ooh, I went
Netflix.
off on a weird
You
tangent.
did, but you know what? It's great because like we don't
Well,
shy
I
away.
appreciate that. Thanks for confirming that.
Yeah, it's great. I when it comes to that kind of stuff too, like Pride was just in Providence, and so Bo was like curious about different flags and stuff like that, and she's not quite old enough for me to have the your dad is trans conversation yet, but we talk about the different flags and what they mean, and it's like the rainbow flag is to celebrate people who love each other, and like because anybody can love each other, boys love each other, girls love each other, people in between love each other, like that's just how it goes. So I think it's important to put that on, just like it's not even like shying away from it. It's just like normalizing inequality. Like these are equal loves. They're
Yeah,
equal.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a TV show on Netflix called Teach You a Lesson. And I think it might be my favorite show of all time. It's a Korean
Ooh,
drama.
Google it.
Um, and it's kind of got like a very anime vibe, which if you know me, I'm a little bit of a nerd. And I do love some anime. But
I have seen that. Is that the one where the school
yes,
type of bullies? Oh, I've binge watched it.
you binge watch it.
I've watched it.
Finally, somebody. It was so good there. I was
I
laughing. I
thoroughly
was
enjoyed it. I
crying.
pulled my kid in. I was like, watch a couple episodes of this. Look at this.
It
I thought it was fantastic.
It was fantastic. The acting was so good. The stories were like gut punchy and truly like something we should be watching and talking about. Like the stereotypes of bullying out in Korea is so accurate, and like but we like it gets onto tiger moms and just like crazy. It's crazy. Oh, I love that show.
I think foreign shows are starting to outproduce or be outproduced from like your American shows. I mean, I
Agreed.
watch and I could see when Netflix made that change because now all I get is a lot of like South Korean and Chinese and UK type shows, a lot of subtitle type shows that my kid also watches because he's like, "Can you put the subtitles on? Because I can't understand what they're saying in English." And I'm
Yeah,
like, okay,
that's
sure."
true.
So he's like, "I'd rather read it." But yeah, that show was fantastic. I stumbled across it and I was like, because I try stuff. If it looks cool,
Yes.
I'll try it. And I was surprised that there was martial arts in it, which was really well done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
that
like, yeah, this is legit.
that's so cool. And the first season, the arc was just like, it was just really well done. It was just, yeah, I'm excited for season 2, and it doesn't come out, I think, until 2027. So a little sad. But I've told
Fingers
everyone
crossed.
here to watch it, and no one's seen it. So this is the time I've been able to talk about it. I'm like, finally, somebody's seen it. It's so good. Oh,
It is. I
perfect
thought it
bad
was
example.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome back, guys, to Certified Bad Example. As you can see, we have a lot to talk about before the show even starts as we catch you guys up on what we've done. But myself and August Black are back this week to talk about more stories and misadventures and certified bad examples that we just talk about, try to dissect, understand, maybe find the silver lining in it. But you get our opinions, our thoughts unvarnished. We don't know the stories that we are sharing with each other, much like you are learning the stories, probably at the same time that we are. But make sure to comment, like, subscribe, push. We want to make sure our podcast gets out to a lot of cool people who want to make sure that they are revisiting some of these bad examples with us. So I'll kick it off with our first story of the day. This one is more around parents and school board meetings, and adults are the ones that are showing us the most childish behaviors in a lot of these examples. So across the United States, school board meetings transform from routine civic events into national televised confrontations. Parents shouted over one another, interrupted proceedings, insulted educators, and in some cases required police intervention. While the arguments centered on masks during the COVID times, books, curriculums, and school policies, educators later said the overlooked victims were often the children sitting in the audience. Those children were often hearing about the events and certainly sharing them the next day at school. Many students watched adults abandon the very bad or the very behavior schools ask children to model, which is active listening, right? Disagreeing respectfully and solving problems without intimidation. What are your thoughts?
I feel like that's very American right now. That sounds very, very on brand for American adults. I would say not the ability to listen, creating arguments where it can be conversation. I kind of think that people are almost behaving intentionally to go viral for bad behavior. If that makes sense. Like it's, I don't know, like it's this like deep seated need to like be seen as this like this, whether or not you're on one side or the other, I'm just gonna fucking yell about it, right? Like I'm just gonna yell about it, and so I'm heard. And on a play in an environment where everything's videotaped and anything can go viral, as long as you're heard, it doesn't really matter.
Confrontational.
Confrontational. I mean, I'm not a confrontational person, so I don't really understand um communicating in the way that like creates like drama in that sense. Like I would rather just like talk it out. Sometimes I have a hard time with that too, so I'm working on that part. But like, yeah, I mean, when we're going to a school board, I also think that we're arguing over things that parents maybe not like shouldn't have like a decision over, but like the masks. Masks were used during Spanish influenza to help it from spreading. It's not a personal affront to anybody to wear a mask. It's just to protect everybody. People's difference of opinion in that sense were like, "No, you're hurting me, you're hurting my kid. We don't have to listen to you. Like, we're not gonna do this for the betterment of ourselves." And it's like, "Okay, but what about our neighbors? or our elderly teachers or anyone. The books, I think, are more probably geared towards telling the truth of our history or and expanding people's minds, where closed-minded people just don't want that in their lives. And it's like, then homeschool your kid if you don't want them to know about the world. I just feel like there's this overarching like idea that what I think is right, it is right and like is the only thing that can move forward, if that makes sense.
So I think you're coming from a rational standpoint. And I think if you throw that out the window, then you start to understand the type of people that show up and show out at these events. There are a lot of individuals that show up to provide feedback, opinions, thoughts, right, in a very calm, intellectual manner. The school board listens and goes, that sounds great. We'll write that down. We'll consider it. Maybe we'll vote at it, whatever. And then there are certain mandates that, glad that you came and shared, but nothing we can do about it. It's a mandate from the school board or the state or what. What I did want to say is the people that show up and have such an eruptive personality type, I think that they are often not considering others. It's really about me, right? And when you go to a school, schools are not ever about an individual. It's about trying to appease many people. And when you're trying to appease many people, you will get 20% of it wrong because you can't make everybody happy.
No,
That's just the nuts and bolts of it. Now, is it appropriate to bring your kid to a school board meeting? Yes, I think it should. I think it's great for kids to be able to see individuals that disagree with each other but can do it properly and not lose their cool. I think this example of where you have uh, parents who are not modeling what we go home and tell our kids to do, right? Active listening, disagreeing in a very respectful way, solving problems without intimidation. I think that is more the problem than what they're even saying. When you start yelling and screaming at people, they're not hearing what you have to say.
no, no one can hear you when you're yelling.
No
In
one cares what you have to say. They're trying to tone you down because you're disruptive, you're being
Mhm.
argumentative, you are being the jackass in the room. I am a very I'm not a confrontation type of I have no problems with it,
Yeah,
right? I'm not a confrontation kind of person, but I am the kind of person that will speak up. If I have something to say, you'll hear it from me in a very productive manner because I understand that most individuals will listen and hear you out if you approach this in a very calm demeanor. You may not agree. Maybe I did something to offend you, but I'm going to address it. And I'm going to bring it up in the moment
yeah,
because that I need you to know that this happened just now. I need you, it's kind of like going into a retail store and saying, "Hey, you did something wrong. I don't agree with it." That person behind the register that has the button to say, "I'm going to return this item," is more than likely to listen to you if you're calm and saying, "Hey, this is the issue that I had. And I know it's against the policy for you to even consider this, but let me share this with you." They'll press the button and go, "Okay, you know what? Cool. It's just a nice person. You came to me correctly.
yeah,
Yeah, let's do that." As opposed to, "You take this back," and then it's like, well, no thanks. I'm not going to do that. Now, what I will say is there are also individuals out there that take their job too seriously. So they're unwilling to listen to different opinions, different perspectives, and at least listen. Whether you do something about it or not, I think most people just want to be heard. And I think if that is missing from such a meeting where you've opened it up to the public to say, bring your thoughts, your opinions, your comments, your reflections, right? Which is the general concept of having an open school board meeting. We want to hear from the parents and the members of the community. If you're not willing to hear that,
yeah,
right? If you're brushing it off as, well, this is what we're doing, so you need to be okay with it. Have some compassion and at least listening to what someone has to say. I think that in itself calms people down.
Yeah, and I think that if you're going to it, it's like, hopefully the idea behind attending meetings like this and putting on meetings like this is to create community within the school, to strengthen the community within the town, and to build something as, from like connection. But if every time these school board meetings happen, it ends in police and comfort, arguing and people screaming at each other, you're breaking down those connections. You're not building anything. And I think it goes back to just like people not really having maybe empathy is the wrong word, but the ability to kind of see outside themselves a little bit, to in this day and age where there's just not a lot of like, I don't see a lot of growth there, especially in this generation of parenting. I kind of it, I feel like it's also like very like it's either this way or it's that way. It feels very very like the middle of the road. It's like, oh, I can kind of see that, but this still makes me kind of uncomfortable. Is there any way we can adjust this? It's like, nope, this is disgusting, and it should not be in my child's life. It's perverted. It's like it's always taken to the nth degree.
Yeah, I think, I watch a lot of court TV for some reason. It's something I'm into now, so I'm watching a lot of like judges and doing like bench trials and stuff like that. And I don't know why. Um, but it segued it briefly. The algorithm put me into like one of these school board something where there was this board. I think there were like four people, and the I guess the leader, for lack of a better term, was trying to move on, and this one lady was still trying to argue her point. It wasn't open forum, but it was being recorded. And because he was trying to move on, and she was like, well, I guess no one can talk because you're trying to move on. And he's like, yeah, we're trying to move on, like that, we're next thing. And she did like the Nazi salute to him, and that was all it took. Right, she did that, and she was like, well, whatever, I'm reserved, and I'm done with. So she thought she was being like
Funny?
funny.
Not funny.
Right, so because it was recorded and it made it online, ultimately she got fired, because there are certain things you just don't do. Right, it's
One
it's
of them.
kind of like when people use the n-word, and they're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. You have to have been comfortable using that word for it to slip out,
Of your
right?
Yeah.
Because if that word is not in your dictionary, then there's nowhere for it to have come from.
Mhm.
But you're using it somewhere, which is why it was okay for it to be the word that you chose to describe that moment at the time. So it's kind of like that with these school events. You are an argumentative person. If no one agrees with you, no one sees your point, you're going to blow up because your point is the way that it should go. All
Yes.
of this
Yeah.
should go this way. And
It
because you
should go
can't
my
see
way.
it that way, I'm going to get louder with you. I'm going to get belligerent. I want people to notice me and see me. Look at me. I'm fighting for you. You're not fighting for me. Not like that. Not like
Ye
that. You're not fighting for me. I may agree with you, but I wouldn't have addressed it that way because now no one's listening to you.
yeah,
Anyway,
I
my 2 cents.
No, it is true. I mean, I recently had a bit of a confrontation where I just felt like there's like a bit of towing a company line versus moral high ground, and I was like, yeah, I'm just like not. First of all, like I need this to be broken down so I can understand it better. But secondly, like I'm not gonna go with that. That doesn't work for me. Like I was like, if this is how it really went, then I'm gonna stand on the moral high ground. I'm not towing any company line. If people are gonna be disrespectful, they can leave. I have the right to refuse service, and it's a little more convoluted than that and work related. But it it is one of those things where I just kind of felt like I had to keep repeating myself over and over again, not because I needed my point to be across, but because I needed a full explanation and then to decide, okay, like where are we going to sit? And I think that when you don't, when people can't express themselves, there's a way harder time if you're not if you don't have the ability to really communicate what you want or what you're feeling or what you think that should happen or what had happened, then you're not giving the person on the other side of the conversation to either meet you, understand your perspective, or and change. because that's what you clearly want, or give you an alternative, like, you know what, I can see where you're coming from. However, this is where I'm coming from. And then you have to do them the decency to reciprocate the listening ears. We gotta all have our listening ears sometimes. It's like if Bo's asking me for something and I'm not hearing her, I was like, you know what, I gotta turn my listening ears on. I don't know what you want. Can you tell me again what you want? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Like,
Right. Explain
and
it so
explain
I
it.
can support you. And if you can't
Exactly.
explain it, then we don't rock by just supporting whatever you say just because you said it.
Just because you said it, you're not just right just because it was said. That's not how that works. Yeah.
All right, August. Next story, homie.
Okay, so this one's a little bit sad. This one's actually really sad.
Oh
I
no.
know, I know. It popped up on my feed and I couldn't believe it. And it was one of those situations where I was really glad that the parents, so that these parents were charged with murder.
Wait,
Um,
I'm a play sad music while you read it. While you
Yeah,
read it.
super sad. So on November 4th, in 2025, 7-year-old Casper O'Brien from Flint Township, Michigan, died. He was 7 years old. He was 4 feet 2.5 inches tall, and he weighed over 255 pounds. He died of cardiomyopathy, which is a typical heart condition happening in elderly or obese patients. His parents were charged with second-degree murder, torture, and 3 counts of second-degree child abuse. In February 2024, he was last seen by his primary care physician, and he weighed 104 pounds. So within 1 year, less than, or just over a year and a half, he put on an additional 150 pounds and then died from complications. They said that his diet consists mainly of chips and crisps. And on the morning he passed away, there's a phone records of Casper's parents calling the vet about their dog's health and not about their son's.
Okay, how old was this child?
7.
Okay, and the parents were also of the same diet?
Yes.
Okay, so unpopular opinion. Um I I do think that it is abusive to allow your child to eat as unhealthy as you, the parent, are eating. You're an adult. You can eat whatever you want. If you want to be, 800 pounds, you're an adult. Do you, right? The child, on the other hand, doesn't really have a choice in what to eat. They're going to eat whatever you buy for them. And they are a growing, maturing, evolving. My biology says to do one thing, but it only gets one thing, therefore it's going to react this way, kind of a kid. And I think it is abusive on several different levels. There's the physical, which is by the example that you just given, right?
Mhm.
There's also the psychological part. The kids have to go to school, they have to interact with each other. When you are heavier than most, you tend to stand out. People tend to notice. People make fun of you, they tease, they bully, right? So if you have the opportunity, unless it's a medical condition that just can't be avoided, which sometimes happens, if you have the opportunity to manage that better, you should. And I recognize that I'm trying to be somewhat sensitive here because I don't exist in this world. But, I recognize that parents sometimes have in the house what they have in the house, and they don't have this is our food and then this is your food. Because that's also not fair, right? We're over here eating junk food and you're eating broccoli. Like, no kid's going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So it seems like it needs to be a top down type of change in order to make sure your child and you are healthy. You are representing and showing them what healthy looks like. When you divorce yourself from that because you just want to eat whatever you want to eat, and then your kid's just going to look the way that they look just because, that's just the way this house runs.
Yeah.
I do think that's criminal.
It's criminal. I mean, I don't know who said this quote. I think it might have been, there's some it might have been the chef guy from Queer Eye. I could be totally wrong here. But he said sometimes, because people are like, oh well, my grandmother had type 2 diabetes, so I have type 2 diabetes, and so that's how I got it. And sometimes you have to think that maybe you didn't inherit type 2 diabetes, because you don't. You inherit type 1. You inherited her recipes. Uh, like you inherited like
I
her
mean, that's
diet.
so on the nose.
Yeah, like, you inherited her recipes, you inherited her diet choices, and, like, I'm trying to change in how I feed myself and how I show up and how I go for walks and work out and doing those things, and, this unfortunately, this case is, like, way worse. It's like there was he was bedridden, there was rashes and sores, and they said he didn't like getting wet, and the sister was also found to be morbidly obese at 5. But it is one of the
Is crazy. I mean, what's a body supposed to do,
also,
right?
how are you getting your toddler to eat? Because mine doesn't like to. So when I get I'm like, "You need to eat." Like, you have had, like, 16 blueberries in the last day and a half. Where are but, like,
Well, if
so
all you're eating is junk food, it might be easier, right? If
well,
all you've
because
got
of
are
the
10 bags of Doritos.
Yeah, and it tastes incredible, and I think it's addictive. Like, I find, like, oh, if I'm trying to be better, I need after, like, the first few weeks, I need less barbecue sauce, right? Like, there's, like, this weird
Well, what's the mental psyche of it, right? Because if that is your eating disposition from your parents, then are you eating to eat, or are you now an emotional eater?
eating
Is your
to
body now
pancakes.
craving certain things that ordinarily it wouldn't,
Is that
right?
the
Is your
yeah, that
routine, right?
mhm. Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things, and I completely agree with you. I think that I feel for everybody, and I have space for everybody, and I also believe that there are so many different body types in this world that the picture of health is not what we should be looking for, especially in children who are growing. Like, baby fat is real. Kids need to, like, have space to grow into their skin. Like, that is all a part of it. But if your child is morbidly obese as a child, then that is on you, and that should be considered a similar level of abuse to a child who is completely malnourished at facing possible death. Those I don't see those. You're forcing your child to eat until they pass away at 7, or you're not feeding your child till they pass away at 7. Those I
Well,
don't see the difference.
healthy on both sides, right? The key
Yeah,
word here is healthy. You can be a little round in certain areas and be healthy, right?
totally.
Because you're growing, you haven't hit your spurt or whatnot. As an adult, you can listen, go the path that you feel is best for you. You're working through challenges. There are some that are working through things and they just can't get there, right?
Mm,
Which is why GLP-1 is a thing these days.
yeah,
And then there are others that are like, I'm big and sexy. That's me. Okay, hey, rock it.
rocket.
But when you are a kid,
Mhm.
you don't have those choices. You
No,
eat what is provided to you. And I am sure there were probably some instances where this kid went to a doctor and they were like, "Look, you need to change this kid's eating habit." And then you went home and you're like, "Nah."
nah, yeah. And I think that, God forbid this is like a normal circumstance. I don't think it is. But even on, like, a very less, like, severe version, I grew up in a very big family with lots of different, like, 7 kids. We all grew at our own pace. We all have our own shape. We all, in some stance, I think every human who goes through middle school and high school, they struggle with what they look like and accepting themselves. And if you're adding this, incredibly, I mean, this is to, like, such a different extent of, I mean, neglect through food. You're not giving this kid the opportunity to maybe even ever love their body. Some bodies don't come back,
Good
like
point.
that is you're kind of ridding them from the opportunity to grow into a body that they get to learn to love because you've damaged it at such a young age. And in a society where everyone when this can be, again, we go back to bullying. It's like their mental connection with food, their mental connection to themselves and their appearance, it all can be affected from not putting in just enough time. And like it's not, like I said, we both have kids. Like they don't a 13-year-old boy eats 6 times the amount that my 5-year-old daughter does because he's growing and he's going through puberty and he's doing shit, but he needs fuel to get there, and the right kind of fuel matters.
Yeah, it's not ice cream and candy. That's
No,
what they want to eat, but you as a parent need to be able to say, that's
not
that's on Friday. Today
yeah.
is Tuesday. Today we eat this kind of stuff or don't eat this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying people need to cook every day.
No.
Listen, however you get your food, make sure it has the right balance on it, right? Have pork chops with broccoli. Have that steak with carrots. Mix and match. Make sure it balances correctly, right? Snack times needs to be for kids specifically.
It's
And I hate to do it because I eat when I'm hungry. Like I don't need a time to tell me, right?
yeah.
I am the anomaly, right? Some people eat because they're bored. Some people eat because they're sad. Some people, they are very into sweet, so that's a challenge that they're always working with on a day to day basis. I respect that. Um, as an adult, it's something you can continue to work on because you're aware of it.
Hmm.
As a child, that's different.
Yeah.
They mirror you. So they're eating what you're eating because you're eating it when you're eating it.
Hmm.
They can raise their hand and go, "Please, I want to eat healthy." And then you go to the store and you buy it for 2 weeks and then you slip right back into your own bad habits. So it is a mental shift that needs to happen intentionally, probably every day for the rest of your life to say, I'm going to do this for my kid.
Yeah, and like the one thing that like because Bo and I we like a coffee shop, and so we do
Your
we
kid
like
drinks coffee?
no I what's so sad? This is decaf. Okay, this is where I had a bit of a caffeine problem.
Listen,
With,
you don't need to convince us.
oh,
It's a Trenta Starbucks coffee.
Trenta August Buck coffee.
Triple shot of caffeine.
I did put 2 more in there just a second ago because I was like, um, but when we talk about food, there's something that I picked up from a different, just like a kind of like a health conscious parent, where sometimes we're like, oh, this is I think I don't want to give anyone any food issues, right? Because you really kind of like tiptoe around that stuff. So they talked about fun food versus strong food. This food is strong and it makes our body strong. And this food is fun and we get to have it too. And so instead of being like, this is good food and bad food, this is strong food to feel and fuel strong bodies. And this food is when we get to have a little fun. And it's fun food there's, because there's not a negative connotation to fun food. You can have some ice cream because we're all going out and getting ice cream and that's fun. You
Hmm.
can, or we're going to a barbecue and you can have a hot dog and fries and chips today because we're having fun. But when we're home, we should have strong food and we should fill our plates with colors and fruits. And we've been eating way more fruit recently, and Bo will put down fruit. So I'm like, great, let's eat fruit. But she doesn't really like meat. So we recently introduced tofu and she's
What's
into it.
wrong with? No, I'm just kidding.
Is
I've seen some. I've some family members of mine are like, I don't either. I don't like chicken or I don't like burgers and stuff like that. So it's like, to me, I'm like, what? But I often have to curb my own reactions because it's like that's them. That's not you. Like if you don't have to understand it. Go eat your chicken when you want to eat your chicken. Don't worry about what they're eating.
yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. And you just kind of like, yeah, it is a complicated and like it feels like one of those conversations that feels really scary to have, but it is super important. to have it. And there's one other like there's a brothers that come to mind where they're huge. These two brothers are massive. They're like 6'5" and 6'7", and one's a
And their
pro.
kids?
No, they're grown up. They're
Okay.
like brothers. They're grown up, but they're talking to their dad, who is not big. He's like 5'11", and the mom's not big. And he's like, "Why do you think we're so tall and big?" And I think genetics has a good amount of play with it,
It's in
but
the water.
it's in the water. But
Are they from Flint?
I don't know. I just know that one kid's a college basketball star. He might have just made it to the end,
Oh,
but he was talking about how he's never had soda, and his mom didn't let them eat sugar, and so they just grew up incredibly healthy, and they're both massive, and like their parents are massive. And you could think like, yeah, genetics probably has something to do with them being tall, maybe like in a different, lineage of the mom. Sometimes you get a height kick, but I also do think that they were just fueled with the healthiest food they could, and it took a toll. And now they have two like over 6'5" kids.
holy cow.
That's worth looking into. It's really tall though.
Wow. Well, so before I let you go, we're gonna transition into our fucking around and find out because we took a lot of time in our intro, just kind of kikiing, which is fine.
Yes, yes.
But there are those, I think it's called green zones or brown zones or something like that on this planet where people live and exist beyond what is considered average
Oh, really?
years lifespan, and it has a lot to do with how they live and
Okay.
where they live and what they eat, and it's not vastly different, but it's like
Japan's
it's
a
hard
green,
to
isn't it?
I'm gonna have to look it up. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen here that I'm talking, so I can make myself sound more knowledgeable about it. But it's like what they eat, the time that they spend like outside doing physical stuff instead of like they're not like connected to the internet, and they live a certain way. These are people that are living to like an average of like 90, 100 years old on a regular basis, and it's everybody in this zone
Yeah.
is all having these results. um I think that's amazing to kind of hear because you don't get that from individuals that are, sedentary, eating American style. I will always tell you, I've traveled the world,
Yeah.
and I haven't been everywhere, but I've traveled the world, and the American food portions are twice what it is anywhere else.
Yeah.
And, when I travel and they give me small plates, my first instinct is always like, I just pay for all this food and they didn't give me enough. And then I get to the end and I'm like, ooh, that was just right. Like perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently discovered my new favorite breakfast spot, and their portion sizes are just normal. It's like normal, and the food is so fresh. So it's like normally my sister used to go to this one diner, but it's so greasy. I'm like, I can't eat there anymore. And so we found this one spot, and it's just like really natural. It tastes like I made it at home, and it's just the portions are normal.
Oh,
And
that's a nice little plug.
yeah, it's great. It's called All Favorites. If
It's
you're
like I
in
made it at home. Damn.
Dock me. Uh, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think choices and I feel like Japan has more people in their hundreds than any other country, and they test it to the diet, but also community. They're very community based living. Lots of
Japan
friends.
is I think is an anomaly because they're an island unto themselves. Whatever, if they're bringing in like trashy food, it's because they're importing it, and they as a culture they haven't done that in generations.
Yeah,
So the fact that there's a McDonald's there is great, but I don't know that a lot of Japanese people are going to McDonald's. You get a lot of
tour.
tourists that are coming in and oh McDonald's, let me go. So it's
Yeah,
that kind of a thing, in my opinion. In my opinion, let me add that. Anyway,
fair.
August, let's transition to the positive vibes
Yeah,
and
positive vibe.
sultry sounds of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, fuck around and find out. So I did gotta keep it kind of on the health game, but I found this family who wakes up and does a morning walk together every day and has for 3 years. All the
Wow.
kids both the parents, they get up and they take a walk before they go to school.
How many kids are we
They
talking
have
about?
3 or 4 now.
Okay.
So they like rain, sun, snow, they are outside and they go for a walk, and it's just this thing. And she was talking about how she was getting kind of pressured online for being too strict. And so she made a post about it, and I'll pull it up so we can kind of clip her in the show here. But she's like, my kids don't see the morning walk as a chore; they just see it as a part of our daily life, just like they see our garage is full of gym equipment and we are active and exercise as a part of our daily life and not a choice. It's just a part of how we live. And so it was just one of
Right, so
those.
it's not like mandatory. She's not forcing it on them. It's just part of what they do.
Exactly. It's just who they are. It is not a part of what they do. It's not a chore. It's not, you don't have to come. And like with Bo and going on dog walks, I'm like, it's our responsibility to walk these dogs, but it's also good for you and you can have this thing. But I really resonated with that because it was like, oh, what a great example you're setting for your kids. You're going to go on a morning walk, the whole family. I also think that that's super important. You're taking time out of your day to connect all together, and you're not making it this like um I think chore has like a negative association. This is just a part of our day. We're going on our morning walk. We do it every day. I guess they do it after night after dinner too sometimes, and just bring it together and everyone gets their zoomies out, and a good way to connect, and going for walks is good for you. So I just love that.
Wait, what's the IG? Do you know off the top of your head?
I was looking for it a second ago, but I wasn't able to find it. So I will
Shame. Send it to
I,
me after the show.
I will send it to you after the show so we can post her because it was I mean, they just seemed like a really cute little fam.
Well, fantastic. We've reached the end of our show, guys. So I
Yes, we
hope
have.
that now that we're on episode 68, me and my numbers, I'm having challenges counting these days. But but we appreciate you guys listening. If you guys have any comments, thoughts, concerns, opine on anything that we share, feel free to drop it in the comments. Plus, if you want to be a guest, we from time to time have guests that join us
Yep.
and participate in these exercises, right? We read stories, you guys react to them on the spot, give us your feedback. We'd love to have you on. So feel free, raise your hand, send me a message, send August a message, send the universe a message. We'll have you on. We'll chit chat, we'll kiki, some people like the spotlight. Like,
Yeah.
so
We want to know
bring
your
it.
come talk to us about it.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
right? Are you wrong? Are you in the middle? Do you need to be right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to Certified Bad Example. My name is Jameel, and of course, co-host August, who again is a few weeks now fresh off of his birthday. So make sure to wish him a super happy birthday. He's 32, but feels very, very 28.
Very 28. I'm feeling super 28. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jamil. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, follow us. We are all over the place, and we would love to hear your bad examples. And we will talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Boop.